And then this is toward the end of the war. We were told that we could either go outside, and they wanted us to go out east somewhere, in like New York or Chicago or somewhere. And my folks still wanted to go to Japan, so we had that choice too. We had to go, we could go to Japan. So my folks were determined to go to Japan. But my sister, who was our age, and she was like 22 years old, she stood her ground. She says, you folks could go yourself, but us kids, we're going to stay. And my father, who was very Japanese custom, who didn't let any daughters of his talk back to him, had this daughter talking to them like that, so he was shocked. So anyway, but my sister was determined to keep us brothers and everything, in the States, so we decided to go out at that time. So my folks thought, well, maybe we should keep the family together, so they decided to go out too. So that's when we went out.
And so they said, you can leave now?
Yeah, they gave us $25 and a one-way transportation
to
wherever we wanted to go.
$25 for your family?
Per person.
Per person.
For our I guess our expenses, I guess.
So were you pretty happy, excited at this time? I mean, the war was over now?
Yeah, the war was over at that time, and we decided to go out. Well, I graduated high school, and I was 17 then, and I said, I was very independent myself. I says, well, I want to go somewhere else. My family could decide to go to Southern California and work on a farm there, but I wanted to go somewhere else, so I went to Sacramento. They had a camp set up there in Sacramento, a labor camp where it was on a farm, and for people who's coming out of camp, it was built for that, and so I decided to go there. That's where I went, and I worked hard in Sacramento for. I was working 7 days a week there, and I had no time to go to a bank or anything, so I kept all my money. We got paid in cash, so I kept all the money under my mattress. So I get a letter from my folks from Southern California, and they were saying that there was so much prejudice there that they try to buy food at the store, and they won't sell it to them. So they had to go 50 miles out of the way to get some food, and there was so bad that they were shooting at their house and everything else. Some people were just shooting at the house and throwing rocks and stuff like that. So they wrote to me about that. So I says, why don't you come to Sacramento? Because there's no prejudice there. So
really?
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. I
Was there
says,
a fair number of Japanese Americans?
yeah, there are a fair number there.
Sacramento.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So they moved to Sacramento, my family, and of course they were just flat broke by the time they reached Sacramento. and I gave him $4,000 of my money from under my mattress, and it just shook my mother all to hell. But Sacramento was a nice place. They treated us okay, you know, and we made our money there, and then we had enough money to start a farm again, so we decided to go to Southern California and start a farm there.
So your father, when you look back on it, was he a different person after the camp?
Yeah, he was. My father must have aged 20 years when he was in camp. It was because, you know, he was just dejected. And here he was a successful farmer, and all of a sudden he was nothing. So he just was devastated by all that. And so he aged quite a bit, and when we came out and we started his farm, by that time he was in his late 50s, and he was going into 60s, so he was getting too old for farming, so we just farmed a small acreage farm, and it wasn't very much, but anyway, that's where we made our living. And I went to school, art school, and became an art director at an advertising agency. But by that time I got married, and I went to Chicago and worked there for 12 years in Chicago.